right? For those of you who are already here, the plan is to start around 8:30. So yeah, around 8:30, I want to start on the topic. Start a little early to give people time to maybe join. Um, my channel usually don't get a lot of views, but I'm usually able to get like 15, 20 people at least. Uh, so let's see if we can get some people so that I can ask some questions. Um, Now I know right now the only thing you can probably see it's the name and the like the video title. So at least from what you can see in the title and the description, I guess you can start writing on the comments what your thoughts are about it. Like I said, I'll be right back at around 8:30, and that's when we will actually start. All right, guys. Oh, I'm listening to my own stream. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for logging in and watching. Um, but as you can see in the title, today we're gonna be talking about what we're gonna talk about in this channel going forward. And this is what I mean. Let me explain myself. So I started this channel when because I went through the journey of wanting to be a developer, um, and I didn't go to school for it or anything. So finding people online that were able to go from basically working entry level jobs like I was to being a professional software engineers without having to go to school for that. Um, when I was in the process of wanting to do that, I found other people that had done it on the internet, and that was super helpful because now that allows me to see that, or at that time it allowed me to see that it was possible, that it was something that I could do it if I wanted to, because other people that are kind of just like me in a way, they're not superhumans or super smart geniuses or anything like that. They were able to do it. So um, I thought by seeing them, it kind of confirmed to me that it was worth pursuing this career. Um, so since that helped me a lot, seeing people that went through the experience and shared it with others, I opened my channel basically as soon as I finally got the first job, and when I, for the first time in my life, really started getting paid like a professional, um, and all that stuff. As soon as I was able to get like the first job after I trained myself, in order to get an opportunity. Sorry, I started this channel so that I can share my experience, and I've been doing that, and especially through those early years, I kept posting videos a lot more frequently because for a lot of things I was just seeing them for the first time, and um, in a way, my whole world changed when I went from, again, working at really crappy jobs, the ones that you literally just feel depressed working there. You don't want to be there. If you drag your feet going there, like you just hate everything about it. You know, so going from that environment where bosses are the bosses and they feel like somehow that's not just a job position or a set of responsibilities, but they feel like that somehow makes them better human being, and they treat the other people like crap. And coming from that type of workplace, um, where they basically treat everybody like they're worthless, because all you need to do to replace that person is just take whoever filled out an application, because there's so many people that want that job because everybody qualifies for it. So I'm talking about, like, again, fast food, factory work, warehouse work, distribution centers, restaurants, all that stuff, washing dishes. Um, you get the point. The type of jobs that you just find, you hear about it somewhere, and you just apply to them, and there's probably a lot of people applying at the same time as you are. So even though the job is really crappy, you're still kind of lucky to get it because there's so many other people applying and they can pick and choose. Again, then you go from, if you do get hired at one of those companies, then you go and work at one of those places, and then more often than not, obviously there are exceptions, like there are exceptions to everything, but more often than not, then they treat you like crap. And when you work as a professional, uh, in most fields, you're treated with respect. Like a lawyer that works at an engineering firm, it's treated with respect. Oh, sorry, a lawyer that works, honestly, any job that a lawyer works, but let's say they work at a law firm, around the office, even if they're not like a partner, they're just like, I don't know, somebody that just graduated and that's their first job out of law school or something. They are treated with respect because there is not, that should not be the reason why. But in reality, practically speaking, they treat the lawyers good at a law firm because they need the lawyers and they're not easy to replace. And that's why they pay them well, they treat them well, they treat them with respect. In any other profession, the same thing with a doctor. A doctor is a professional. He has a set of skills that nobody can, the hospital can just hire somebody from the streets and then give him a 2 weeks training and make him a doctor. Obviously, that's ridiculous to even think about that. But they have a set of skills at the end. Again, this should not be the reason why they're respected. But it definitely is a big part of it when you talk about it practically speaking. A hospital cannot disrespect a doctor, not only because that would be wrong to disrespect somebody, especially for no reason, but also because that would directly economically hurt them. That would hurt them because, they will have a turnover and then they have to spend resources trying to get another doctor and things like that. And it's hard to find them because these people are well trained. They have a skill that a lot of other people want. So when you want one of them to work for you, you have to pay them well because they could easily just go work for somebody else for more money. And it just keeps going like that. The same thing, probably at a lower level, but software engineers at companies that hire software engineers usually are treated well. And it is the standard to be treated well. If they don't treat you well at a company and you're a software engineer, you have a set of skills that other employers would love to have. And even if you don't know the specific programming language that they use, you could probably, at a different place, you could probably learn that very easily if you already know the fundamentals of programming and then apply for a different job somewhere else, even if they use a different programming language. So companies, even if they wanted to disrespect you, if they didn't care about the fact that just disrespecting people, it's probably not a nice thing to do. If beyond that, for some reason, they wanted to disrespect you as a software engineer, they still would not want to do that because that would hurt them economically. Because then they have to pay recruiters a lot of money just to find people that might qualify for the job. So when you go back to, again, the lower level jobs, you don't get that treatment because you could be replaced just like that. Again, I am not saying that that is right. Everybody should respect everybody, in my opinion, regardless if they're a janitor, if they are a CEO of a big company, regardless of anything, really. Regardless of anything, everybody should treat each other with respect. But these smaller companies where you don't need any skills, don't just do it for that reason. Well, like they just, they don't care about, I guess, the ethics and all that behind disrespecting people. But on top of that, they don't have a strong they don't have a strong financial reason to not do that. They don't have a strong financial incentive, is the word that I was looking for, to not do that. Because if they fire you, all they gotta do It's go see the other applications, find somebody else, and replace you just like that. So all that to say that going from that word of employment where people are treated like that because they could be easily replaced to going to this whole new world of being a software engineer, even at the very beginning, I go from that I just described to companies that will literally tell you 20% of your time, not including the time that you take for lunch and the times that, like your regular breaks during the day. But on top of that, take 20% of your time to work on whatever you want. Just try to make sure it's something positive. If it's not something for the company, at least make sure that it is something that would help you professionally to become a better engineer or something like that. Which is fair. I mean, they're paying you to do whatever you want. I mean, they're paying you to do your regular job. But part of that, it's, part of that pay is for you to do whatever you want. And all they're asking for is that if it doesn't benefit the company, like maybe try to make a cool little app for the company, and maybe, maybe that can turn into a big thing that the companies they invest more money on and keeps growing. That you could use your time for that, which is cool. And it makes sense for the company because they would, if they get a lot of developers using their creativity, building things, a lot of products come from that in companies that exercise this type of policy. But even if you didn't want to do that, build something for the company, they would just ask that you at least would spend the time, not like watching Netflix or something like that, but at least teaching yourself. Maybe you want to learn a new programming language because you think it's cool. Maybe you want to use a new library. Your training, the company was paying for it. And it wasn't like a small part. It was like 20% of your time. I went to that environment from the environment that I talked about before. So obviously everything was different. Everything was different. They treat you with respect. Again, the 20% time thing, that they let me basically do whatever I wanted. On top of that, they would, have a lot of lunch catered to us very frequently. Awesome building with your stereotypical ping pong table and all that stuff, and places where you could just go and kind of relax if you were feeling stressed out and all that stuff. And a lot of other perks. So obviously that was a huge jump for me in my life, period. So as soon as I started doing that I finally got the job, I started sharing my experience. Because even though I had seen people online that talk about it, especially my good friend now, Joe Santos from codingphase.com and from the Coding Phase YouTube channel. When I was teaching myself, there was probably a quarter of the channels that there are online now talking about code. But seeing somebody like Joe from Coding That Phase was huge for me because he wasn't like the stereotypical nerd. If you guys watch his channel, you know what I'm talking about. He wasn't like the stereotypical nerd that's like, that's been like super smart since he was born, and started coding when he was like 12 or 9 or some crazy stuff like that, and was building apps and stuff by the time that they were in high school and all that stuff. Like, he's not like that. He's just like a guy from the streets of New York. And he was able to do it. He was able to teach himself how to code. he always had an ambitious mind. Um, you can tell that he wanted something good after high school because he went to college for a little while. He studied something different, not software development, because he was always ambitious. But then when he saw that this software development is where stuff is at, not doing IT, like, fixing somebody's printers at a company when it breaks, or trying to figure out why the internet connection is not working. Once he finished that, he realized he didn't want to do that. So he saw that the software development career path was a lot better, in his opinion, and in my opinion also, in the opinion of a lot of people, especially a lot of people that watch this type of content on YouTube. So he jumped into the software development stuff, and he was able to do it. He was able to become a paid professional software engineer making software engineer money. So to me, that was huge, because it's like live sample right there in front of my face. Like, look, dude, this dude did it. Like, you can totally do it. So I try to do the same thing for other people because I know how that helped me. So now they don't only have his example, but they also have my example, so that they know that this thing is totally doable. So that's why I started this channel, and that's why almost all the topics in this channel, if you go and look at them, almost all of my videos are talking to people that are trying to get into the field. I don't do a lot of stuff for people that are already professionals. You don't see me being like, I don't know, maybe like a Traversi Media guy that's always doing tutorials and stuff like that. That's not only like helping the little guy just starting out, but that's just basically helping everybody in the field. You could be a dev with 10 years of experience, but if you want to learn a little bit about a technology that just came out, you can go to YouTube and you can go into one of those channels where they get in depth about, actual programming and actual. Okay, sorry. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot of channels that make content for people like that are already in the field and all that stuff. Most of my content has been for people starting out. And even though it hasn't made me practically any money, like I've been doing since like 2017, when I got my first job as a developer, and all the way up till today, I probably made like $100 of YouTube for all that time. So obviously it doesn't make me any money, at least nothing significant. But I think it has paid off because, in a way, it makes me feel good that so many people that have watched my channel hit me up on LinkedIn to tell me they that they watched my channel and that they were able to find a job. It's not thousands of people, but it seems like nearly every week, maybe every 2 weeks, since I started posting videos, somebody adds me on LinkedIn. Well, people add me like almost every day on LinkedIn, because that's like one of the pieces of information I give out on my channel, because it's talking about professional stuff, software engineering. So people add me all the time, but it feels like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, at least one new person contacts me saying that that they watched my video and that they finally got my job, that they finally got their first job as an engineer, and then they start going through that process that I went through again when I went to working at those crappy jobs to working as a professional, and that's just kind of cool. That's just really cool that I'm able to it's just really cool that I'm able to do that. Um, Obviously, it's not like they became software engineers because of me, because that would be stupid. It doesn't take you watching videos on YouTube to become a software engineer. It takes you time practicing and learning, being focused. That's what gets you there. But I think I feel good at least about the fact that they tell me that what I do here in this channel at least was a little part of the motivation that kept them in it. And when you go through something like that, I know what it's like now. But when you go through something like that, it is an incredible feeling because you go from, at least in my case, my experience is that when you work in those crappy jobs, you know, at least in my ways, I can always thought like, I'm gonna be big one day. I'm gonna be big one day. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna set my family straight one day and all that stuff. I used to tell myself that. And I'm not talking about like just in general, like, oh, I'm gonna become a software engineer so that I can do that. I'm just talking about like later in life. It's not like I made it or anything crazy like that. Um, but what I'm saying is like, when I was in that situation working the crappy jobs, like I always kind of had those thoughts in my head. But then there was always that little part, like, there's always like that little part that tells you like, bruh, sit down, bruh. Like, look around you. This is what we all gonna be doing. We're gonna be here at this distribution center. Every year you're gonna get like a 50-cent raise until they cap it out at 16. And $16 an hour, that's not bad when I'm 30 if I'm making $16 an hour. You just almost start to, at least in my case, you have like the little voice that's kind of telling you like, bro, maybe this is all this is. Maybe this all there is to life. All you gotta do now is like, I don't know, start a family or something and just get used to it. Do that like everybody else. And then eventually, life is over or whatever. So going from that to the point where like, to having a career where you get not only the respect and all the things like that, but also like financially speaking, you get rewarded a lot more. And then at that point, it's like, it's kind of your choice. Because you can go from living in poverty to being middle class. And then at that point, it's kind of like you have the choice of living middle class, like middle class people live, with a house, not in apartments, with a decent car that you make payments on it for a long ass time. Live in a nice neighborhood. How about 2-car garage? Being able to have a place where to work on your car, like you see people on the TV doing, because they have like these houses with a whole garage where you can literally just park your car there and you don't have to move it or nothing. You can work on it and everything. Being able to take vacations twice a year, like you see people do on TV or whatever, or how you see your friends that are rich doing, taking a vacation to Hawaii, taking a vacation to the Caribbean, Europe, all that stuff. The stuff that like middle class people do. Yeah, that's probably like the highlight of a middle class life. But when you're living in poverty, you see that as like almost like a dream. You know what I mean? Like you see people taking vacations to Hawaii and like TV shows, whatever, sitcoms, whatever. Hear people talking about it. But when you're in poverty, you don't relate to that as much because you don't see yourself going on a vacation to Hawaii, getting there and having a rental car that you get into and all that stuff. Maybe the only places that you ever been to, you have to freaking drive there. If you are like born and raised in the U.S., living in poverty, maybe you haven't even been overseas ever. Me as an immigrant, obviously, I've been overseas. Well, you get the jump from going from poverty to that, to being able to do all that. The nice job, the vacations, the nice house, whatever. That doesn't mean being rich. That doesn't mean like you are like a millionaire or anything like that. But those are the things that like middle class do. But then you also have the other option, which is I'm not going to be just middle class. I've been living in poverty. I was able to get this job as a professional. And this doesn't only apply to software development, obviously. It could be anything. Anything that you had as a goal that have financial benefits behind it. Maybe you said yourself, maybe you wanted to be the people that fix the air conditioners and all that stuff. I heard they make a ton of money, especially, right now when it's switching from season to season, from like winter to summer, spring to summer, whatever. And everybody's noticing that their AC broke down or whatever. It doesn't have to be software development. In my case, in my channel, it is. But when you make that jump from being in poverty to now you're making middle class money, or slightly upper middle class money, because I think like the average middle class person in the US makes like 50K. So when you are a software developer, you definitely easily make more than that. So that's what I'm saying, like maybe a little bit over. And that's just at the beginning when you're starting out. Your career continues. I mean, Facebook and these places in Silicon Valley, they pay $500,000. When you count like all the stocks and everything, they're paying $500,000 to engineers a year. So that's definitely not just middle class. You know what I mean? You can stack a couple millions easily, not even investing, just saving. If you have one of those Facebook jobs type of thing, as like a senior software person. But anyway, when you make that jump, again, you're faced with the decision of you just want to be middle class, or are you willing to put a lot more work, keep living or keep your expenses down very close to what they were when you were in poverty, and now you have a ton of money in your bank account. You have a ton of money just stacking up. Because yes, you got the job that starting out is paying the 60K, 65, 70, whatever it is, as a software developer. Yes, you went and you got that job after your hard work, your whole year of teaching yourself or whatever. Or again, you can apply that to any career. But yes, you went and you got the job. But you didn't go and get DirecTV with Sunday Ticket on it and all the premium channels. You didn't go and sign up for Netflix, for Hulu, for Cinemax, for HBO Plus, or whatever it's called now, Disney Plus. You didn't go and do all that. Most importantly, you didn't go to any of those dealerships that they want to sell you a car because you can't afford it. Bro, you're making, if you're a freaking, but if you're working as an engineer, you can pretty much buy any freaking car you want, except for maybe like a Lamborghini or something like that. Like probably like 2 months after getting your job. Because they're going to see the paycheck. And I mean, you see, I seen broke people that work at these factories that I work with for $10 an hour, driving new cars, driving spanking brand new cars. Because it's just that easy. They don't give a they sell it to you, and then you have to, every month, you have to be like, here, sir, here's part of my money. Here is part of my money. Take it, please, because I hate freaking money, so I love giving it to you every single month. So you could do that like most middle class people do. Or you could go and buy you a nice used car. Because now that doesn't mean that you still have to keep driving the $1,200 1999 Honda Civic. It doesn't mean that. But it also means that now all you gotta do is literally save for a few months. And now you can go and buy yourself the same car that at the dealership they have it for $15,000. You can go and buy it. You know, they have it for $15,000, but people buy it anyways, even though it's expensive as shit. Because they can afford the payments, even if they don't have 15,000 in their account. You could do that, or you could go, say for like 3 or 4 months, get a $8,000 together, and go and buy you the same car, pay for it, cash, here, take it, but you ain't touching my paycheck. Sell me the car, take the freaking money, and don't you touch my freaking paycheck. Because that's my paycheck. Not yours, not his, not hers, not your girlfriend's, not your friends that you want to impress. That's your freaking paycheck. That's my paycheck. So I ain't gonna give it to you. I ain't gonna give you part of it every month. And if you take the other route, the one I'm talking about, not settling for being middle class and being able to afford all the things I told you, the vacations, the nice house, the nice cars, the nice neighborhood, but being able to afford that while your savings are kind of low or whatever. Or you can say, I've made it with less than this before, so I'm gonna better my quality of life a tiny bit. I'm gonna get a little nicer car. If I live in the hood where there's shootings every day, maybe I move to a little more expensive apartment, or I start investing in real estate and buy me a house. You know what I mean? You start making smart decisions with your money. Now, maybe you're not living like all those middle class that you used to see, even after you're making probably more money than them, or the same money as them. Or you're getting yourself together so that in a few years, then you can afford the things that they can even dream of. In a few years, then you can say, I want to stop working if I want to. So the fact that when you become a software developer, just like any other career that is, that has a high demand for it, the fact that you can get that is a huge life change. That then you have those are the next two options. You go from being in poverty, maybe this is it, maybe this is all I do for the rest of my life, just like my parent, just like my family or whatever. This is all there is. You go from like, wow, now my choices are being a middle class, being in debt, but at least living a decent life, being able to take a vacation, all that stuff I mentioned like 7 times already. Or I'm gonna be smart with my money. I'm gonna save it up, I'm gonna stack it up, I'm gonna flip it. and I'm gonna be a freaking millionaire. Then those becomes your two options. That even if you go for the worst one, being middle class all your life, if you have the software development skills, it's gonna be hard for you to not get a job if you ever need one. So at the worst, you're probably stuck, career wise, like financially speaking wise. The worst case scenario is maybe you just live a normal middle class life. I'm sure you could do worse than that if you make a lot of really wrong decisions, but you get the point. So the fact that some of my videos help people stay focused to accomplish that, even if it's just if only a tiny bit of their motivation came from my video, when they tell me that stuff on LinkedIn or whatever other social medias I talk to people a lot, Instagram, Snapchat, it's cool, man. It's cool. It's super cool. And in a way, it kind of gives you like, I don't know if this is even a good thing, but it kind of gives you like that feeling of like, all right, like you help me now, you know. So that's why I made a lot of those videos. To help people understand that they can do it too and that they can get to that point. So when I started, I spoke a lot about, insights, tips, how to go from zero to higher, what it's gonna be like on your first day. At least I share my experience on what my first day was like. Things like that can help somebody starting out. Like I found things that helped me when I was starting out. But the honest, at least in my opinion, I made videos about that. And I talk about, different things that all should help you a little bit in starting your career. Now that those videos are out and people are still watching it every day, I'm assuming 6 months from now, it's going to be different people that are watching it today. At least I would hope, because maybe they watch some of my videos today, they get a little extra motivation and they keep learning and learning so that they don't have to, keep watching dudes on YouTube how to do stuff for beginners because now they're advanced. But anyways, I have those videos about career advice. I don't know if I can just keep talking about it because I guess obviously this is maybe biased, but I think I gave what I think is pretty decent advice on how to start your career. And I think you can go and watch some of those videos and you see at least my opinion. Maybe, it's probably worth me making some more videos, maybe giving maybe a more informed opinion now. That's been some time, plus I'm a little more advanced in my career. Do I still agree with all the points that I was making in the videos that I was making when I just started my career? Or have some of my opinions changed? Maybe it's good to still do some of those. But again, I can just post every single week. Everybody keeps asking me, post more videos, post more videos, post more video. But okay, talking about what? I gave you already what I thought, in my opinion, was what you should do to get hired as a software developer the fastest. I gave you my opinion on what you should be learning. I gave you my opinion even on what type of computer maybe you should own and things like that. So what am I going to talk about now? At some point, you got to get up and go learn this stuff. Go watch the tutorials. More importantly, a lot more important than watching the tutorials, After you watch the tutorials, build stuff with the stuff that you just learned from the tutorials. So again, I'm sure if I really try, maybe I can keep coming up with things about code. But the point of this video, hopefully, is that a lot of you guys will comment on what you think I should talk about more in this channel. Because again, even though all of my current videos are about coding, starting your career, as you can see, I am, well, you guys probably noticed this is a new space than my last space because I just moved not that long ago to a new office. But I have like a little setup going on and stuff, so that maybe I can keep making more videos. But what I'm thinking is a lot of my upcoming videos would probably be talking about financial success. Not necessarily my experience, because I don't consider myself to be financially successful. At least I am very far away for the goals that I have. So I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. So what I'm thinking is use some of the connections that I have made and try to have on kind of like on the channel, on the show, whatever you want to call it, trying to have people that went through that experience of coming, basically started from the bottom. Now they're here type of people. Interview them, see what's up, see what similarities I might have with them, or you guys, the audience, might have with them. See what things you could pick up from them. Try to focus on getting actionable items, actionable things out of every episode that maybe we can work on to try to improve our lives. And I'm sorry, in the probably should explain too. The reason I'm talking about financial success is because obviously there is a lot of aspects to life. You have like your finances, you have like your relationships, you have your family, marriage, whatever. Come on, boy. So obviously money is not everything. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will not take any money if that means the person that you care about the most is gone or something like that. So obviously money is not the most important thing in life, but I am not a psychologist, no therapist for couples or anything like that. So I'm not going to talk about that stuff. The only things that I feel like I can actually share with you guys is things about money, not because I know everything about money, but because I'm super interested on it. I learn a lot about it almost every single day. And that's one thing that you can I don't watch stuff about relationship, all that kind of stuff. Maybe my life would be better if I did or something. But I don't worry about that stuff. But money I kinda do. So that's what I was thinking, that maybe money, career, that type of stuff, not only money. Because also, there's a lot of people that consider success not necessarily how much money they have in the bank, but maybe, how much free time they have, how much they can see their kids. Is what they're doing exciting? Maybe they could be making more money doing something else, but maybe they're making less just to get the opportunity to work in something more fun for them. So basically around finances and career development and that type of stuff. And again, trying to get guests. Like, for example, here in the Cincinnati area, I go to a lot of startup events, and sometimes I cross paths with people that have developed an app and have made a lot of millions of dollars, which is super cool. That that you see like these people that have like a lot of millions of dollars in their bank account, and you just kind of see them around saying hi to everybody and just meeting people normally. You can go and shake their hand, talk to them. Um, so kind of people like that, kind of interviewing people like that. Not so much like, I don't know, you're super famous celebrities like, I don't know, Tony Robbins or Drake or The Rock or somebody like that. Obviously, a channel like this could not even dream of having people like that on it, but more kind of like your everyday people. You know what I mean? Kind of like the guy that maybe you just in your way to work or whatever, going to the grocery store, driving around, and you see the guy that's cruising in his brand new Lamborghini or something like that. It's not necessarily a famous guy or a guy driving a Porsche. There's a lot of people like that that are not necessarily celebrities. Also, I know a few people that get to do what they love for a living, and that do a lot of cool things. Um, that might be good content. For example, I have a friend that his dream was to be on the radio one day, and he works on the radio. And he makes a living from it. He makes a really good living from it. And he has found creative ways of monetizing the fact that now, a lot of people use the internet and this or whatever, and technology has advanced in a way that, you know, makes radio a little bit less important, but he still has found a way to profit from that. And so that's kind of like one example. I have another friend that, for example, owns his truck company. He has a lot of money and things like that. That could probably give us a lot of insights, um, about his process, his finances, things like that. Maybe some tips. Um, I have another good friend that I know, for example, that it's a full time DJ, and yeah, and like he makes decent money. No, he's not like a rich guy or anything like that, but he lives a decent life. But instead of him going to work to an office every day of his life, um, he works as a DJ at different nightclubs and things like that, um, events, that type of stuff. Makes a good living from it. Um, so I'm sure there is a lot of probably interesting stuff that a person from that point of view can give us. Like somebody that literally do what they love to do, um, and all that type of stuff. The stuff that they would do for free anyways, but they get paid for that. So there's a lot of things like that I could kind of arrange, put together, but um, that I think could make good content. But hopefully, if the channel grows a little bit, if you guys like that type of content, then maybe we can do better stuff. Maybe we can do better stuff. So that's my idea about the direction that I'm planning to take the channel. Sorry. Now that I have like all this set up and stuff. And I want to hear you guys' opinion. Let me know if you think that I shouldn't be talking about that stuff, if I should just be sticking to code. Maybe you have a good reason that I am not aware of. And I would love to hear that. Um, if maybe you have even a better idea than what I'm thinking, and I would love to hear that. Again, my number one plan with this video is that you guys comment somewhere, so that actually, you know what, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get the chat on the screen. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Well, I guess this video is just not gonna have the chat because I forgot to put it on the screen, and it's probably too late for that right now. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the one that stuck through the whole live. Hopefully, again, you comment, give me your opinion on which one of the two topics you think I should speak about more. If you have any other opinion or anything like that, yeah, and that would be greatly appreciated. Please, again, remember to follow me on the social media. I put it in the description below, and maybe we can talk that way. Thank you guys, and have a good night, every single one of you. Bye.